First reading comes from Colossians 2, verses 1 to 5. For I want you to know how much I am struggling for you, and for those in Laodicea, and for all who have not seen me face to face. I want their hearts to be encouraged and united in love, so that they may have all the riches of assured understanding, and have the knowledge of God's mystery, that is Christ Himself, in whom are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. I am saying this so that no one may deceive you with plausible arguments. For though I am absent in body, yet I am with you in spirit, and I rejoice to see your morale and the firmness of your faith in Christ. The second reading is from Romans chapter 1, verses 8 to 12. First, I thank my God through Jesus Christ for all of you, because your faith is proclaimed throughout the world. For God, whom I serve with my spirit by announcing the gospel of His Son, is my witness that without ceasing I remember you always in my prayers, asking that by God's will I may somehow at last succeed in coming to you. For I am longing to see you so that I may share with you some spiritual gift to strengthen you, or rather that we may be mutually encouraged by each other's faith, both yours and mine.
My birthday is in February, so I was one of the lucky few who were able to not have birthdays during lockdown. In our family, the other birthdays are in April and August. And for those lockdown birthdays, what we did was combine with friends who obviously couldn't see the loved one. We combined to make a video. The most special event, though, was for our daughter. She's a grade 2 teacher. And can you believe it? Each of the children in her grade 2 class, nearly 30 of them, each individually created a video birthday message for her, which the class mom then stitched together and presented to her for her birthday. I mean, it was really very special. So some birthdays have actually been more special under lockdown. And here we are, Trinity is having her birthday. 68 years old. We are so grateful for those founding members in 1952 for the work they did that enabled Trinity Methodist Church to find its feet and start putting down roots, and that's what we're able to enjoy now. In fact, I think there's a photo showing you right now of some of those founding members that are still part of Trinity Methodist. This was a photo we took just a few years ago at one of our birthday events. Now, during lockdown, which has been, of course, a very difficult time for us as a church, there has also been a lot of good that has emerged. And the good has emerged because there are some aspects of being church that came to the center, came more clearly to the surface, which we've been able to focus on and appreciate about being church and being Christian today. And I want to reflect on those good aspects, and I want to do so within the understanding that as life moves on for us, we should hold on to those essentials in a very nearer and dearer way, perhaps, than we have before. They've been highlighted for us during this time of COVID-19, and as we journey into the future, let's not lose that which we have learned. So I'm going to be reflecting on this under this statement: why we are here even when we are not here. On the screen now is a portrait of the Apostle Paul. This is quite a famous portrait by Rembrandt, and as you can see, Paul is portrayed holding letters, a man of letters. And all of the portraits about the Apostle Paul will have this feature to them. either him holding letters or him at a desk writing letters. Sometimes the portrait will show that the desk is in prison. And this is because this is how we have got to know Paul, is a letter writer. That's how he's come to us in our scriptures. And that's how he was for the early church in the main, was the man who wrote the letters, and that's his lasting legacy. Now, Paul was separated from his congregation. He couldn't see his congregation. And so he used the technology that was available to him to have contact with his congregation. And two of the two readings that we have today reflect on this moment of him writing letters and what's in his heart as he writes those letters. In Romans, he says, I long to see you. I long to see you. Now, friends, I've been reflecting on that phrase quite a lot over the last 6 months because I have felt that in my heart. And I'm saying to you as Trinity Methodist Church, I long to see you. I long to see you. That is very much been in my heart also. When Paul is writing to Colossians, he says, I long to see you face to face. He says, my spirit is with you, although my body is not. And I have really felt that in my heart as well. And I look forward to when we can see each other, which will hopefully be very soon. But Paul's reason for longing to see them was not just a hope to rekindle the days when they were all together. It was more than that. It was very much, he was a man with a mission. There was something he wanted to communicate to them. If he was with them, there was certain things that he would have done for them. He can't do them, so he writes letters to them. That's the technology he had available, which still stands today. And when he's writing, he says to the Romans, for example, in that passage that was read, that he wants to see them because he wants to strengthen their faith. And the way he puts it when writing to the Colossians is that he wants to encourage their heart, and he wants to boost their morale and the firmness of their faith in Christ. So friends, that is what is his intention, and I want to say that has been our intention in broadcasting services to you, and in the devotions we've shared, and in the congregational correspondence that we share with you. Our intention is the same. It is to strengthen you in your Christian walk. It is to boost your morale and your firmness in your faith, in Jesus. It is to encourage your heart. And friends, that is why we are here. Even when we are not here, even when we are not gathering here, that is why the church exists. It exists as this movement to encourage disciples in their walk of faith. It exists as this movement to nurture kingdom consciousness. In other words, to be able to see life through the kingdom spectacles that Jesus gives to us. That is why we are here, even when we are not here. That is why we have the online services. That is why we have everything that we have been offering in a digital and online format. And so I want you to appreciate that is core and that is essential to the church. And I invite you to take that to heart and to keep that at the center of your Christian life. That you every day get up aware that this is at the core for you, to be a kingdom person, to be a person of faith, and each day to seek that particularly that which your local congregation is offering you, Trinity Methodist Church, to seek that and to be open to that which is offered to you to encourage you in your faith, to strengthen you in your walk, to boost your morale, to make you firm. Appreciate with me that if Paul had not been separated from his congregation, then we would not have the letters. And then how much of the New Testament would we actually have? Paul's letters alone are about a third. Then there are the other letters by John and James and Jude and Peter. Would we even have the Gospels? Would we even have the book of Revelation if people were not separated from their congregations? So much good came from that separation. And why were the letters written? To encourage people in their faith. So that is core. And I want you to also take it to heart in the sense that just in your daily encounters with another brother or sister in the faith, take the moment to let it be encouraging and strengthening to you in your walk, and for you to be encouraging and strengthening to them in their walk. During lockdown, especially stage 5 and stage 4 of lockdown, I preached the sermons recorded at home in our patio or in my lounge. I remember Brett preaching from his garden or from one of his children's bedrooms. I still remember the pictures on the cupboard next to him. I remember Lundeka preaching, for example. This was particularly memorable for me, preaching from her vegetable garden. What has been interesting in all of this is that our homes, which are domestic spaces, were transformed into informal, as it were, unofficial, sacred spaces. Spaces within our homes that were not intended to be pulpits became pulpits. And the same transition happened for you. Your couch that you sat on when you watched the service, or the chair that you sat on when you watched, never had aspirations of being a church pew, but there it was, as a church pew, as it were. Really, our domestic spaces became used for sacred purposes. And the space set aside in society for sacred purposes, namely the church, was quiet because of the ban on gatherings. And so homes had to take over and be a blend of sacred and domestic space. The lines were blurred between the two. And so homes were used as a place of worship. Homes were used as a place to grow in kingdom consciousness. And friends, that is what the heart of the church is all about. Whether you have the church building here or not, that is what the heart of the church is all about. Whether we are meeting here on the corner of 5th Avenue and 5th Street or not. What is essential is that worship and nurture of kingdom consciousness happens. So friends, take that to heart. That is why we are here, even when we are not here. And can you hold on to that and keep that at the core of your life? But can your homes continue, even perhaps when you're all able to be back here at church and use this property for what it was intended, can your homes remain blended places where there is also times of worship and with others perhaps growing in the Christian faith? And of course, it wasn't just your homes, it was your computer also, it was your phone, it was your tablet. These had to play dual roles as well. Can they continue that role in your life? It's just been the two of us these past 6 months. What I mean by that is Trinity Methodist Church, this large congregation, was reduced in many ways to just the two of us. The preacher and you listening and participating in the service. Sometimes it was just a little bit more than the two of us. You maybe had somebody with you, a family perhaps. But the point is that you showed up for the service even though nobody was watching you. There wasn't a church gathering that could say, oh, Sue or Jack is at church today. You showed up even though nobody was watching you. And I want to affirm you in this moment for doing that. Through that habit, that routine of yours, we were able to maintain connection with you. We were able to hold together as a congregation as each of our members did that. That's also part of the purpose of Paul writing the letters, is so that he could lead from a distance. But he was dependent, of course, on the responsiveness of those to whom he wrote the letter. We are trying to lead from a distance, but we are completely dependent on your responsiveness to what we are offering you. Now, the days ahead, the weeks ahead are going to be times of more transition, hopefully transitioning to services in part here and then eventually fully services. This time has been an incredible time of dislocation, and if you do not keep up with the routines and the habits of maintaining your connection with us, of watching the services that we offer, of reading the correspondence, then we would be completely dislocated from each other and each be going our separate ways, as it were, and one does not want that to happen. And so I hope you are saying to yourself, I will be faithful in keeping my connection with my local church. What you will also discover in that, if you haven't already discovered in life, is that the habits and routines of your life, the things you do perhaps when nobody is watching, have an enormous impact on your life. Good habits and routines enhance your life greatly. Bad habits and routines can diminish and trap your life in awful ways. And one of the good habits and routines is to keep your connection with the local church, which is Trinity in this case, and be appreciating what is offered and the ways in which we are trying to nurture you and how that can add value to your life. And so as I draw us to a close, I hope you have seen the value of being intentional about discipleship and growing and being strengthened, both for yourself and how you can offer that to others. I hope you've seen the value of your home and your phone and your tablet and your computer being a blended place, not just for domestic use, but also for sacred use. And also for work sometimes, because those devices are used for that purpose also. And I hope you've seen the value of habits and routines that keep you connected to your church, both for the sake of your church, but for your walk with the Lord. So that's the birthday message for today, trying to really savor and appreciate and hold on to that which has been so good during this lockdown. God bless you, Trinity Methodist.
Hi everybody, our notices for today are quite a big one in that it's looking at us starting up our services again. We will be starting with our services on the 4th of October, and we will be working on a pre-booked system. So keep an eye on your congregational correspondence, and more details will be following for that. On Sunday, the 4th of October, we'll be having 3 services. We'll be having a 9:30 fusion service, an 11:30 vernacular service, and a 6:30 contemporary service. For those of you who aren't able to join us physically on the property for those services, we encourage you to follow the links that we'll be sending out, and you can join us as we live stream each and every one of those services, so you are still very much part of it and nobody is missing out. The live streaming services are also ideal for those of you with comorbidities or other difficulties that prevent you from being able to attend the service. But we look forward in starting up services again. We look forward in connecting and engaging with you, and we hope to see you all soon. God bless.